let's look into some other issues briefly before we dig deeper into our major story of today. You know, INEC has started its continuous voter registration across the country ahead of the 2019 general elections. The process is to allow new voters get registered. Let's get some updates on the matter now. Mr. Oluwole Osaze-Uzzi, the Director of Voter Education and Publicity at INEC, he joins us from our Abuja studio. Many thanks for coming on the program, Mr. Osaze-Uzzi. First, let me start by asking you, before we go into the issue of the CVR matter, the Senate confirmed 15 resident electoral commissioner nominees just yesterday. But one will wonder, what has taken so long to get leadership for about 30 states that do not now have resident electoral commissioners as we speak? How has that impacted on INEC?
Thank you very much, Sean. First of all, the first aspect of it, I'm not competent to speak on why it has taken so long to get replacements for the outgone resident electoral commissioners. Perhaps that question will be directed at the appointing authorities and those who do the confirmation. But there was some unsettlement when vacancies exist and nobody's filling those vacancies. But the Commission on its part has tried to do the best under the circumstances. First of all, we must remember that these people are not actually members of the Commission. The Commission consists of the chairman and the 12 national commissioners who are based in Abuja. And these commissioners have been assigned to supervise states. But the Constitution allows them to delegate powers, their responsibilities, their duties to resident electoral commissioners who are people, as the name, nomenclature suggests, are resident in the states. So naturally, when you don't have such people resident, then there's a vacuum of sorts. But we'll try to, under the circumstances, make the best of it. The administrative secretaries in those states where there are no resident electoral commissioners have been holding forth for the resident electoral commissioners, reporting directly to the national commissioners and to the commission itself. So we'll try to make the best. The Constitution envisages a permanent commission, and the commission has been working, albeit with not a full complement of the officials as envisaged by the Constitution, but we've tried to make the best of the situation, and nothing has actually stopped. Things are a bit slower, but now that the new people, when they are sworn in and they come on board, it will be a welcome development. Okay,
because a lot of people will be wondering how those states are being administered, especially when there's a continuous voter registration going on. So what can you tell us? What is the update about the continuous voter registration? How many Nigerians now have, for example, a temporary voter register? How many Nigerians' names are now on the INEC voting register right now?
Okay, thank you. There are several issues involved in the CVR, continuous voter registration, going on now. The registration of those who are eligible is just one aspect of it. And we're in the 6th week. On average, we registered just over 100,000 per week. So, don't forget we started this on the 27th of April. So we're in the 6th week now, and we've registered over 600,000 people. We cannot at this moment tell whether those are all genuine, in the sense that we've discovered, it will appear, some people who are supposed to transfer of their voter registration point, or who've lost their cards, now wish to replace them. there are legal provisions for these, but some of these people have gone on to register. But as of now, the raw data is over 600,000. Fortunately, in a couple of days' time, next week, Wednesday, the Commission will have a retreat and an assessment, an appraisal of what has happened halfway, because we're halfway through this first cycle. The first cycle consists of a whole quarter. So by then, we'll have done more than 6 weeks, about halfway through that, and then we'll do an appraisal of the situation, find out how many people have registered. For now, the figures I have are just over 670,000. Then we'll see how many people have applied for transfers, how many people have applied for the replacement of their cards because they are lost, they are defaced, or they are somehow damaged. So all these are going to be done. All the resident electoral commissioners, the ones that are remaining, and all the administrative secretaries from all the 36 states and the FCT will converge. We'll all sit down together with national commissioners and the chairman and do an appraisal of what has happened, what have been the challenges, what are the likely solutions, how best we can improve the processes. These are all the things people from the field, people from the headquarters will sit down and brainstorm over.
INEC last month accused the governor of Kogi State of double registration. in that statement, INEC did say, let me quote a portion of that statement to you now. INEC said that it has come to the attention of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, that Governor Yahaya Bello of Kogi State registered as a voter for the second time on Tuesday, May 23, 2017, in Government House, Lokoja, the state capital. His first registration was on the 30th January 2011 in Wuse, Zone 4, Abuja. So INEC did say that in that statement also that they wish to inform the public that it completely dissociates itself from the governor's action, and they wish to make it clear that no INEC staff was authorized by the commission to re-register him or any citizen, or to do so outside designated CVR centers. The commission is taking disciplinary action against the INEC staff involved. Mr. Osaze-Uzzi, now is the commission taking the case up perhaps against the governor, since it realizes, and what have you done on the matter? It does look like that contravenes the Electoral Act.
Yes, prima facie, on the face of it, there appears to have been a contravention of the Electoral Act. As to what we're going to do against the governor, there are portions of that statement which you have not quoted. And it said, for example, that because of the provisions of the Constitution, he cannot, the governor, any sitting governor, while he's in office, cannot be prosecuted for committing any criminal offense. And double registration is an offense that involves sanctions, penalty, and such is a criminal offense. So also is registration outside of a designated area. Government house, Lokoja, no government house is a designated center for registration. It's totally wrong if proven in a court of law, and all those involved, including those who carried out the registration, will be guilty of a criminal offense if they're convicted of doing that. So it's outside the designated area, and that's number one. And number two, it is a criminal offense for anybody to register more than once. You know, it's up to, if it gets to it, governor, unfortunately, and the president cannot be prosecuted with the existing constitution that we operate. So for now, that will probably be the end of the matter regarding him for now. But as to our officials, the INEC officials who were involved in the thing, panel will be set up, they will be investigated, and if, first of all, disciplinary action will be taken against them, and if it's found truly that they did double registration, they were aware the governor had registered before, or if they registered and to appear so that they registered out of a designated center designated by INEC, then they can also, in addition to administrative sanctions, they can also face prosecution. But we'll wait for the outcome of investigation, which the commission is carrying out on that.
Let's bring a senior lawyer into the conversation now. Mr. Rotimi Ogunweso, a senior advocate of Nigeria, joins us now from our Abuja studio. There is a section of the Electoral Act 2010 as amended, section 12, subsection 3. Okay, let me start from subsection 2, which says no person shall register in more than one registration center or register more than once in the same registration center. And subsection 3 says any person who contravenes the provisions of section 2 of this section commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 100,000 or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 1 year, or both. As a senior lawyer, what does it portend for a sitting governor? Some people will be asking the question, is INEC really incapacitated in this sense not to be able to prosecute a governor who they have declared publicly that is perhaps contravene what is the provision of the Electoral Act?
Thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. I like the way my colleague and learned friend, Osaze-Uzzi, put it. He said it will appear as if the governor has committed an offense under the Act. It will appear. But the question you ask yourself is, has any offense been committed at all? Has there been registration? Because the provisions of the Electoral Act, which you've read, which you've just read out, is very clear. One, INEC is empowered. INEC is empowered to conduct registration. And the registration must take place in places designated by INEC. Apart from that, the registration must be conducted by persons who are authorized by INEC to so do. Now, INEC in that statement, which you have alluded to, and which is the basis of this discussion, had said the registration took place in Government House. The registration was conducted by someone who was not authorized to do so. Now the question, and under the law, if there will be any registration at all, it must have those two ingredients. So registration purportedly conducted somewhere else by the person who has no authority to do so is no registration. And if you look at the Act, the Electoral Act, particularly the sections dealing with offenses relating to registration of voters, the only person that, because let me go back to the one you quoted. It talked about registration. Registration it prohibits registration in designated places twice. For an offense to have been committed under that provision, section 12, which you read, one, the voter must go and register in one place twice, or he must have registered in two different places. So his name must have been on the registration list, or what they call their database now. So I am not unaware of the provision relating to punishment with regard to somebody who conducts registration outside the designated places. That provision, with all due respect to INEC, only applies to their staff. As far as I'm concerned, that provision is a code of conduct.
All right.